بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, it's good to be back home after a long trip to Canada. We had a very, very successful campaign. Walillah alhamd. The brothers and sisters out there were very generous. They were very kind, very respectful, very warming. They took a great amount of care and attention towards us, alhamdulillah. And they tried their best to make sure that we were comfortable, warm, well-fed, and entertained. Walillah alhamd. So may Allah Azza wa Jalla reward them well on our behalf. All of the brothers and all of the sisters out there at Ottawa, at the masjid, at the university, the brothers who put together the trip, the brothers who took us around. Walillah alhamd. May Allah bless them all. And may Allah bless the brothers and the sisters who came from Toronto to visit and to show their love and their support as well. Walillah alhamd. All of the disciples that came out, they didn't have to come out and drive for 4 hours in the snow and rain, but they came out to show their love, to show their support, to help us out. So may Allah bless each and every one of them and all of the love and the support from the crowd or the crowds and the hordes of people out there that attended the lectures and the classes and the workshops at the MSA, at the college, etc. Khairan inshallah. So we give you the glad tidings and also let you know that Al-Arba'un Al-Muniriyah, Munir's 40 Hadith, Volume 2 is out, alhamdulillah. It's published, it's printed. Get your copy, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. That way you can benefit and enjoy, hopefully, if you benefited and enjoyed Volume 1. And if you didn't get Volume 1, it's not too late to get Volume 1 and also jump on a horse and get Volume 2, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. 40 Hadith on Seeking Knowledge is now available online. And hopefully it'll be available in a store near you sooner enough. So you can order online 40 Hadith, Munir's 40 Hadith on Seeking Knowledge, Volume 2, with Jazakumullahu khairan. We're on the tail end of Kitab al-Zakah and Al-Lu'lu' marjan, actually the last hadith, the last chapter, that states, Babu ad-du'a liman ata bi sadaqatin. Is to make dua, is to pray for the one who brings you the charity. Tfaddal akhi. Tfaddal. Bismillah. We finished it? We read all of the Kalam of Nawawi? And sharh of all of it? About saying sallallahu alayhi wasallam or alayhi salam to somebody?
Yeah.
We did that? Okay, khairan inshallah. Excuse me. So let's move forward, jazakumullah khairan, to Kitab al-Siyam. Kitab al-Siyam. We've explained before and we'll explain again the importance of studying like this. Reading about a seasonal act of worship outside of its season. Even though Siyam isn't specific to the season of Ramadan. But most people, whenever fasting is mentioned, the first thing they think about is Ramadan. That's the very first thing. Whenever they think about fasting, they think about the month of Ramadan. That's the very first thing that they think about. However, there's fasting outside of the month of Ramadan, before and after. Optional fasts, fasts that become obligatory for whatever reason. And the concept, the philosophy of fasting, of sacrifice, of struggle, of giving up that which is beloved to you, fond to you, that which is normal to you. That's the mindset of fasting. Food and drink, your desires for the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And the universal law of you reap what you sow. You become hungry, you become thirsty on the day of judgment. What will happen? The gate of paradise, what will happen? What does Allah Azza wa Jalla say about the breath of the fasting person? You only get what you put in. You get out what you put in. You sacrifice, you're hungry, you get the reward for that. Exactly. All right? So most people only study fasting in the month of Ramadan or before the month of Ramadan. In Sha'ban, the classes will start, the books, the online courses, etc. But we're not studying Kitab al-Siyam from Bukhari and Muslim just seasonally, but we're studying it from A to Z. all the way from the Muqaddimah, Kitab al-Ilm, all the way, Kitab al-Iman, Kitab Salah, Kitab al-Janaiz, Kitab, now Siyam. So when Sha'ban comes around, and the classes and lectures about Ramadan come up, now you can link that to this. And what you learned last year and the previous year, what you're learning seasonally, you're reviewing, you're brushing up, and it all comes together and blends together. And the same applies to Hajj. If you started the study of a fiqh book, and a madhab, or a comparative fiqh book, or a contemporary fiqh book, and you started studying Kitab al-Tahara, and 4 months later you got to Kitab al-Hajj, and you got to Kitab al-Hajj right after Hajj was over. You say, why am I studying Kitab al-Hajj? We just made Hajj. Because you're studying it in what? In order. And you're not studying it seasonally just for Hajj. But next year come around, that book that you studied away from Hajj is going to what? It's going to benefit you in your studies. It's going to benefit you in your studies. So therefore, you have the Quranic verses that pertain to fasting in Ramadan, the tafsir of those ayat, the benefits from those ayat. Then you have the hadiths, then you have the fiqh books, then you have the fatawa, things like this, right? Khairan inshallah. So he says, Kitab al-Siyam, Babu Fadli Shahri Ramadan. حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا دخل شهر رمضان فتحت أبواب السماء وعلقت أبواب جهنم وسلسلة الشياطين. Chapter 1 says the superiority of the month of Ramadan. Hadith 652 is narrated Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when the month of Ramadan starts, the gates of heaven are opened, and the gates of hell are closed, and the devils are chained. Hadith Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا دخل شهر رمضان فتحت أبواب السماء وغلقت أبواب جهنم وسلسلة الشياطين. Narrated Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when the month of Ramadan starts, the gates of the heaven are opened and the gates of hell are closed. Do we say the heaven in English? The heaven, I'm going to the heaven. One can say the heavens in plural, but in most cases in English, when it's singular, there is no definite the. Just like there's no the for hell. Go to the hell. May you burn in the hell. Everyone understand this? I'm going through the hell. My new stepmother is from the hell. My new stepson is from the hell. My new neighbor is from the hell. We don't say that. We say hell and heaven. The heavens. He will descend from the heavens. In English, people say this. Christ will descend from the heavens. Right? That's what they say, right? Hell, fire and brimstone came down from the heavens. Not the heaven, nor the hell. All right? So that's one issue. Secondly is, why is there no TH in front of hell? If it's based off of the literal word-for-word translation, it should say, when the month of Ramadan starts, the gates of the heaven are opened, and the gates of the hell are opened. Tayyib. Or closed, yes. And the devils are chained. Khairan, inshallah. So, the month of Ramadan has a virtue, and it has a superiority that is not necessarily connected to fasting. In our intensive workshop on fasting in Ramadan, we explained this. And also that workshop was transcribed and printed and published last year, alhamdulillah, the booklet, in which we talked about the virtues of Ramadan. And from the virtues of Ramadan is that it is the month that houses one of the pillars of Islam, which is Siyam. But there's more to it than just Siyam. A pregnant woman who is not fasting, there's a virtue for her in that month. A traveler can get a virtue in that month. Someone who's sick can have a virtue in that month. Someone who's born, someone who dies, and they never fasted or they're no longer fasting, they can get a virtue what? Just in that month. Ramadan being the month mentioned in the Quran by name. So fasting and Ramadan are not always synonymous. You can fast outside of Ramadan, and there's a virtue and an excellence of Ramadan that does not pertain to fasting, just like Jumu'ah. Jumu'ah is a virtuous day. Even if a woman doesn't go to Jumu'ah, it's still what? A day of virtue. Everyone clear on this? It's still a day of reward, of merit, of blessing, etc. Khayran? Tayyib. So, from the virtues of the month of Ramadan are these three things mentioned. Or these, first and foremost, it says, Futihat abwab as-sama'. The gates of heaven are opened up. Futihat. Vigorously. Greatly. وَغُلِّقَتْ. And then say, أُغْلِقَتْ. Shut, locked, fastened. The gates of hell. وَسُلْسِلَةِ الشَّيَاطِينَ. And the demons and the devils are locked down. I.e., the month of Ramadan is a month in which Allah makes it easy for us. And Allah shows us, like He shows us all the time, that He wants good for us. And He wants us to do the right thing. He wants us to do the right thing. And He's going to try, Allah never tries. Allah does. Allah does things for us to try harder. And for it to make it easy for us. Okay? To cut off all excuses or things that will lead to us failing spiritually. Allah Azza wa Jalla never what? Tries. Allah does. He wants, He desires, He wills, and it happens. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tahir. An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he discusses some of these issues pertaining to this hadith. He says here, the first issue is في دليل المذهب الصحيح المختار الذي ذهب إليه البخاري والمحققون أنه يجوز أن يقال رمضان من غير ذكر الشهر بلا كراهة. وفي هذه المسألة ثلاثة مذاهب أو ثلاثة مذاهب. قال طائفة لا يقال رمضان على انفراده بحال وإنما يقال شهر رمضان. هذا قول أصحاب مالك. وزعم هؤلاء أن رمضان اسم من أسماء الله تعالى فلا يطلق على غيره إلا بقيد. وقال أكثر أصحابنا وابن الباقلاني إن كان هناك قرينة تصرف إلى شهر فلا كراهة وإلا فيكره. قالوا فيقال صمنا رمضان قمنا رمضان ورمضان أفضل الأشهر ويندب طلب ليلة القدر في أواخر رمضان أو أشباه ذلك ولا كراهة في هذا كله. وإنما يكره أن يقال جاء رمضان ودخل رمضان وحضر رمضان وأحب رمضان ونحو ذلك. والمذهب الثالث مذهب البخاري والمحققين أنه لا كراهة في إطلاق رمضان بقرينة وبغير قرينة. وهذا المذهب هو الصواب. والمذهبان الأولان فاسدان لأن الكراهة إنما تثبت بالنهي الشرعي ولم يثبت فيه نهي. وقول من اسم من أسماء الله تعالى ليس بصحيح ولم يصح فيه شيء وإن كان قد جاء في أثر ضعيف. وأسماء الله تعالى توقيفية لا تطلق إلا بدليل صحيح ولو ثبت أنه اسم لم يلزم منه كراهة. وهذا الحديث المذكور في الباب صريح في الرد على المذهبين. ولهذا الحديث نظائر كثيرة في الصحيح في إطلاق رمضان على الشهر من غير ذكر الشهر وقد سبق التنبيه على كثير منها في كتاب الإيمان وغيره والله أعلم. Nawawi rahimahullah, he discusses alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, the issue of the month of Ramadan as a name and as a title. Can you say it's Ramadan? I'm happy Ramadan has come. I'm going to fast Ramadan. I'm going to get my act together in Ramadan. I want to straighten up and fly straight in Ramadan. Or do you have to say the month of Ramadan? The month of Ramadan has come. The month of Ramadan is approaching. The month of Ramadan is gone. I'm sad that the month of Ramadan has left, etc. Can you say this or not? The ulama of Islam have three views on it being permissible, disliked, etc. Can you say Ramadan or do you have to say the month of Ramadan? Shahru Ramadan. He says there are three views. And the hadith that we just read proves the validity of the view of many of the great scholars, and from them was Imam al-Bukhari. Imam al-Bukhari. And that it's permissible to say Ramadan, and you do not have to say the month of Ramadan. And it's not disliked to say Ramadan. Khairan inshallah. He says here the three views. View number one is that it cannot be said individually, but you must pair the two. The month of Ramadan. Shahru Ramadan. And this is the view of the disciples of Imam Malik. The disciples of Imam Malik. That's view number one. And the reason why they say you can't say this, they hold the view, is that Ramadan is one of the names of Allah, the Mighty and the Most High. And the name of Allah cannot be mentioned or given unless a certain condition, etc. They say Ramadan is from Allah's names. Say Allah's name is what? Ramadan. Tayyib. Stay with me. Tayyib. He says here, And most of our disciples or our friends, our colleagues, the Shafi'is and Ibn al-Baqillani, they say that if something proves that you're talking about the month of Ramadan, you don't have to say the word month, such as I fasted Ramadan, I made Umrah in Ramadan, I stood up in Ramadan, I made itikaf in Ramadan. Obviously, you're talking about the month. That's the qarin, that's the context clue, showing that you're talking about the actual month, طيب. They also say Ramadan is the most virtuous month. There's no month better than Ramadan. You guys agree with this? Better than Muharram? Huh? They say Ramadan afdalul ashhur, the best month in the year. طيب. And a person should look for Laylatul Qadr, etc. طيب. And said there's nothing wrong with that. But it's only disliked to say Ramadan has come, Ramadan has left, etc. طيب. That's number 2. Madhab number 2. Madhab of some of the Shafi'i scholars. Madhab number 3 is the view that an-Nawawi takes. And it's the view of al-Bukhari. And that is nothing wrong with it. Whether you say the month, whether you don't say the month, whether you clearly are talking about the month or not. Ramadan. Period. Ramadan. I'm getting married in Ramadan. Getting married in Ramadan has nothing to do with what? The shahr. Pay close attention. View number 1, you can't say nothing but the month. Period. Whether you're talking about the month of Ramadan or not. View number 2, it's permissible to mention Ramadan without mentioning the word month if you're talking about that month. Such as Ramadan is coming, meaning for fasting, and not Allah. Ramadan has left, meaning the month of fasting and not. Everybody clear on this? View number 3 is that you can mention Ramadan what? Without any restriction or any context clue. Now, this is when you're studying, you need intelligence now, aql, to differentiate between the different madhabs because they're not the same. And if you have the lack of intelligence, then you're going to mistakenly what? Glue them together. And there's a difference between the two. There's a difference between the two. You understand? View number 3, neither this nor that. Doesn't matter. And that's the madhab of Imam al-Bukhari. Listen carefully. Listen to these golden principles now. Now we have a specific issue that we're studying. And you as a student of knowledge and a layman and a listener, you learn the principle that you can apply to 100 other issues now. He says the first 2 madhabs are fasid. Fasid. Basically, nothing. Trash. Fasid. It means of no weight, is of no validity. And that's because a thing can only be disliked in the Sharia based off of text. Authentic text. That's a golden principle. It's makruh, brother, for you to sit like that. It's makruh, brother, to bring your children in the mosque. It's makruh, brother, for you to wear red. It's makruh, brother, for you to do this. It's makruh, brother, for a woman to do this with her hair. It's disliked to do that. It's disliked to do this. It's. For something to be makruh, there has to be a what? Dalilun sahihun sarih. A clear and authentic proof. And if not, it goes back to what one of the companions said, or a tabi'i said, or culture, or a view, etc. And it could be a good thing to stay away from. Maybe it's a good cultural practice, but it isn't lazim. It's not something that's now binding, and which you have to stay away from it. And this goes to show you how problems creep up now on the Muslims. There's a da'if hadith, it's something weak, it's something that's totally fabricated. They take it, and then it becomes integrated in the madhab. It's just like when you use the bathroom to touch this, to use this, to say this, to use this foot kada. And there's no authentic hadith proving it. It becomes in the madhab, then it's passed down from the 4th century, 5th century, all the way up until now. It's solid practice now. And then the brother comes from America, he goes to Medina, he hears it, he listens to it, he takes it from his sheikh, he returns back to America, and he now does what? Punches the people with it. And now there's chaos. Or, if it's not a student of knowledge, it's a cab driver, someone who migrated to the United States. He sees a new shahada, he sees a revert to Islam, he picks up in his cab or Uber. No, you can't do this, brother. No, you cannot. No, this is makruh. No, it's makruh. Get rid of this hairstyle right now. Don't come into mosque like this. Don't come into the masjid with your hair like this. Right? The proof that you can't have your hair in this style, twisted up, braided up, there is none. Everyone understand this? And then there's chaos. when people force things upon the people that are not to be forced. It's not lazim. فهمنا هذا الشيء? So once again, the golden principle, طالب العلم, هذه القاعدة تحفظ. قال لأن الكراهة إنما تثبت بنهي الشرع. That's it. The shara, the kitab and the sunnah said, don't do it. Now it's either haram or makruh. Not your culture, nor my culture. Evident. You understand this? My culture or your culture. Not bashing your culture and praising mine. No one's culture. Everybody understand this? Your sheikh or my sheikh. The sharia, kitab and the sunnah. That's it. He says, وَلَمْ يَثْبُتْ فِيهِ نَهْيٌ. And there's no authentic hadith that proves that you can't say that. وَقَوْلُهُمْ. And when they say that Ramadan is one of Allah's names, he says that's inauthentic. It's not an authentic hadith that proves that. وَإِنْ كَانَ قَدْ جَاءَ فِيهِ أَثَرٌ ضَعِيفٌ. And there's a hadith which is weak. Alhamdulillah. And we mentioned this from Fath al-Bari, right? On Loud and Unheard. Our clarification of some of the blunders of Abdul Hakim from Damaj. We explained this a few years back. The mistakes that he fell into. And we explained the kalam of Hafidh ibn Hajar from Fath al-Bari pertaining to this, if you remember. When he said Ramadan subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Khair inshallah. I don't know if he retracted that statement to this day. Allahu alam, has he, Khalid? Did you hear? Huh?
I don't know who that is.
Tayyib. Khair inshallah. Moving forward. He says here, next principle. وَأَسْمَاءُ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى تَوْقِيفِيَّةٌ لَا تُطْلَقُ إِلَّا بِدَلِيلٍ صَحِيحٍ. He says, and Allah's names are tawqifiyah. They're only established through text. What Allah's name is and what Allah is not. It's based off of Quran and Sunnah. You cannot give Allah a name that's not found where? In the Quran and Sunnah. That's what's my tawqifiyah. أنها يعني يتوقف إثباتها على النصوص الثابتة. توقيفية. طيب, it's not ijtihadiyah, it's text. And it can't be done unless there's an authentic proof. Khayran, unless there's what? An authentic proof. وَلَوْ ثَبَتَ. Principle number 3. Abdul Raqib, he says, وَلَوْ ثَبَتَ أَنُّ اسْمٌ لَمْ يَلْزَمْ مِنْهُ كَرَاهَةٌ. Even if it was authentic, that hadith was authentic, that Allah's name is Ramadan, it wouldn't be disliked. And that's because there are rules of mentioning Allah's names and names of people besides Allah, others than Allah, that may have a similar name, such as Aziz, Al-Aziz, Al-Malik. Doesn't just have to be king. No, the king too. The king of this city. Everyone understand this? Al-Aziz. You can have an elephant and a lamb on it as well. Everybody understand this or not? Tayyib? Khairun inshallah. So 3 principles here. Is that first and foremost, there's nothing makruh unless there's dalil. Number 2, principle number 2, is Allah's names cannot be affirmed unless there's what? Authentic proof. Authentic proof. Not just text. Number 3, if the text is authentic, you still have to have the proper what? Usage and understanding of it. Everybody understand this? Now you become a polished student of knowledge. You know the specific proofs, and you have the principles to link the proofs together. You have the pearls and the what? The thread of the necklace. The medallion without the chain is what? Abdullah, what use is it, right? Everyone understand this or not? So it all comes together. Now, this also goes to show us another principle. How in Al-Islam there's no sucking up or kissing up. And just because a scholar says something or there's a madhab, it does not mean that it's what? Strong or valid. And no, we clearly called the first 2 views what? Fasid. Called them fasid, right? Now, how many great ulama from among those people that he named? And he still called those madhabs what? Fasid, because it didn't go with the proof. And then Bukhari rahimahullah, he shows us naqtul mutun, critiquing and criticizing the metin. And that is, that hadith is munkar because it goes against the authentic hadith that says إِذَا جَاءَ Ramadan. So not only is the chain weak, but the metin is also what? It's munkar, it's disavowed. Everybody understand this? We talk about ilm hadith and naqtul mutun. Khairun inshallah ta'ala. Let's move forward. The next issue is the gates of heaven being opened up. قال القاضي عياض رحمه الله تعالى يحتمل أنه على ظاهره وحقيقته وأن تفتيح أبواب الجنة وتغليق أبواب جهنم وتصفيد الشياطين علامة لدخول الشهر وتعظيم لحرمته، ويكون التفسيد أو التصفيد ليمتنع من إيذاء المؤمنين والتهويش عليهم. قال: ويحتمل أن يكون المراد المجاز، ويكون إشارة إلى كثرة الثواب والعفو، وأن الشياطين يقل إغواؤهم وإيذاؤهم ليصيرون كالمصفدين، ويكون تصفيدهم عن أشياء دون أشياء ولناس دون ناس. ويؤيد هذه الرواية الثانية: فتحت أبواب الرحمة. وجاء في حديث آخر: وسفدت مردة الشياطين. قال القاضي: ويحتمل أن يكون فتح أبواب الجنة عبارة عما يفتحه الله تعالى لعباده من الطاعات في هذا الشهر التي لا تقع في غيره عموما، كالصيام والقيام وفعل الخيرات والانكفاف عن كثير من المخالفات، وهذه أسباب لدخول الجنة وأبواب لها. وكذلك تغليق أبواب النار وتصفيد الشياطين عبارة عما ينكفون عنه من المخالفات. ومعنى صفدت غللت، والصفد بفتح الفاء الغل أو الغل بضم الغين، ومعنى سلسلت في رواية أخرى. هذا كلام القاضي، أو فيه أحرف بمعنى كلامه. Now we have the issue of the devils being locked up, and the gates of paradise being opened up, and the gates of hell being locked shut. What's meant by this? And also we've explained this as well. Is it literal or is it figurative? Physical or metaphysical? If there's a thing as majaz, what's meant by that? He discusses how the ulama of Islam, some of them say, and this is a very interesting principle, he says, yuhtamal. He says it's a possibility that it's ala dhahirihi wa haqiqati, that it's just as it says, literally. And obviously we know that's an issue. There is no yuhtamal. It is ala dhahirihi wa haqiqati. Wa yuhtamal an yakuna al-murad minhu kada wa kada wa kada. The default is that it's literal. And it's possible not to be literal based off of such and such and such, and not the opposite. And this goes to show you that the Arabic language, the explanation of the hadiths, the fiqh, all of these things were all affected by ilmun kalam. All affected by the rhetoric and the Greek philosophy and the Persian philosophy and the Indian philosophy that the Muslims, the Muslim leaders and those different Muslim scholars Arabicized and translated into Arabic during that time period. And it didn't just have an effect on their aqidah. But the understanding of aqidah is based off of the understanding of everything. Everyone understand this? The rhetoric and that philosophy, and that Greek theology, it had an effect upon all of the different sciences. And which a person comes and says, it's possible to be literal, and maybe it's such and such and such and such. And it's supposed to be the what? The opposite. It is what it is, and maybe the Prophet meant ... Everyone understand this? And not the opposite. So the Arabic language is suffered. And of course, sharh of hadith, one of the most important principles is the Arabic language. Understand this? So fiqh sunnah and sharh sunnah, just because you're studying the sunnah don't mean that you're free from the bid'ah and the kalam. Because the people who explain the hadiths are also influenced from that stuff. Everybody clear on this? So be mindful of that. Qadi Iyad rahimahullah, he says, maybe it's literal, and the signs that the month of Ramadan is coming is by these demons being chained up, by these demons being fettered, by these gates being open, and by these gates being shut. And for these demons to be chained up is for them not to harm the believers and annoy the believers and instigate the believers. Tayyib. Possible interpretation number 2 is that it's not literal. And what's meant by this is that there's an abundance of good and an abundance of Allah's pardon, Allah's mercy, and that there's less harm that the devils do to the believers during this month, as if they were chained up, as if they were locked up, so on and so forth. Khairan inshaAllah. Hafidh ibn Hajar has a better discussion of this hadith in Fath al-Bari about a third interpretation, is that there's still shayateen out there, but the evil, mutinous ones are locked up. Right? Ifrit, the marada. Khairan, inshallah, we've explained that before. Let's move forward. Next chapter. Or maybe we'll stop here tonight. No, move forward. It says, Babu wujubi sami Ramadan li ru'yati al-hilal والفطر لرؤية الهلال وأنه إذا غم في أوله أو آخره أكملت عدة الشهر 30 يوما. The next chapter discusses it is obligatory to start fasting in Ramadan with the sighting of new moon, and to finish with the sighting of new moon. If the weather is cloudy at the beginning or at the end, then complete 30 days as the period of this month. In other words, how do we commence fasting the month of Ramadan? A calendar, a dream, a fatwa, or by something physical that we see? How do we commence? When does it actually start? And, just as important, when and how does it end? When does it end, right? طيب. For fitr, when is it time to break the fasting and to eat and to leave that sacred month? Comma or period. What if the weather isn't so great and the sky isn't so clear? Then what do we do? I.e., what do we do when we can't physically use our eyes? Because there's a big possibility for there to be clouds, and for there to be fog, for there to be rain, for there to be any other type of challenging or inclement weather. What do we do? Khairan, inshallah. And this chapter also shows us is that in Al-Islam, a month can only be 30 days. No 31 days according to the lunar calendar. And there are no 28 days in the lunar calendar. Only 29 and 30. No 31, no 28. Now, many people, when they hear a lunar calendar, they think that it's specific to Muslims or Arabs or Arab culture, and that's not necessarily true. There are other cultures and other religions that use the lunar cycle as well. There are other cultures and other religions that use the lunar calendar as well. It's not just Arabs or Muslims, right? Point number 2, there are other methods of time calculation. There are other calendars. Everything is just not the common era. Or they say in the year of our Lord, Christ, BC, AD. There are other religions, faiths, and customs that have calendars as well. The Vietnamese, these people, those people, they have different calendars that they use as well. Everyone understand this? Khairan, inshallah. Now, of course, we know we have the big issue of sighting the moon. Every single year, it's a major war. A major war. Those who say that we have to follow Saudi. This is where the scholars are. They've been sighting the moon for hundreds of years. It's their culture. They have resources, unlimited money spent on the precise calculation and following of the moon and its phases, right? And then there are those who say the exact opposite. We're never going to follow Saudi. They're corrupt. They're evil. Their leaders are kuffar. The scholars are puppets. They love America and Israel. We're not listening to anything that they have to say, and we're going to look for the moon ourselves in the United States. And the third party group, they come along and they say, well, we're not going to say those things about Saudi Arabia, but we're not going to look for it here in America either. We're going to follow another Muslim country with scholars, with muftis, with judges such as Syria or Pakistan or South Africa or Turkey or Indonesia or Malaysia, and so on and so on and so forth, right? And then a fourth group comes along and it says, rather, we're not going to blindly follow Saudi with no disrespect, nor are we going to curse Saudi and talk about the leaders and the scholars and the rulers, nor are we going to blindly follow Turkey or China or this country, that country, but we're going to try to look for the moon here in our regional locale. Without no disrespect or praising anyone. It's not about rulers or scholars. We're going to try to look for it ourselves. Period. And if we don't see it ourselves, then we'll go with the calculation. We'll go with meaning the number of days. And the fifth group comes and they say, we will look towards Saudi. We'll look towards Turkey and Pakistan. But if there's a discrepancy, something that's weird, peculiar, out of the ordinary, a means of doubt, we have to be careful. And we're going to look for it physically here in the United States or North America. We're going to see what Saudi says. And we're going to use the calculation as an assistant. as help. All right? It was extremely cloudy here. There's a lot of controversy in Saudi. And the calculation, the astronomers, they're saying it was impossible for the moon to be born in this hemisphere. You understand the difference now? It's not just like one thing. Or the calendar says the Saudi's wrong. Saudi, it was cloudy in Canada, number one. It was discrepancy in Saudi, two different reports. And the modern technology said it was what? Impossible. Or very, very, very difficult. Now you have to be tread with more what? Caution. Everyone understand this? So the different madhabs, so how people look at things. And if you think about it, I don't think it goes past these 5 in North America or other places. Madhab number 1 is what? Total reliance and dependence upon Saudi alone. Listen carefully. Not Kuwait, not Qatar, not UAE, Saudi, right? Or Saudi as they say. Madhab number 2 is the what? Exact opposite. We're not listening to anything they have to say. We'll take the moon sighting from Peru. And wallahi, brothers, I've seen this with my own 2 eyes. I'm not making this up. Peru, Guatemala, this country, that country, over what? Over Saudi. We'll listen to what they say in a country in which the Muslims are the minority. Knowledge, scholarship, universities are either little to none there. But we're going to what? That's better than Saudi Arabia. What they say in Peru is better than what? In Saudi. Remember, madhab number 3, madhab number 4, madhab number 5. Everyone understands? You got to pick which one you're going to follow. But one thing's for sure is that it's going to be a war. Muslims are going to differ. In one city, there's going to be 3 Eids, 2 Eids, 4 Eids. A person just doesn't say, listen, this is the imam that I follow, and mashallah, jazakallah khairan, may Allah bless your Eid. I'm going to be working on a day, I can't come. Rather, I want to curse it. You're a mubtadi', dal, mudil, you're a fasiq. Or you may be even a kafir for not taking the Saudi moon sighting. Or for taking the Saudi moon sighting, you may be a kafir. Everyone understand this? And all types of chaos, unfortunately, that we suffer from here in the United States. Allah knows best how it is in the UK. I've never been there in Ramadan. I've never been in Canada. Allah knows best. But here in the United States, we definitely have these problems, right? So a great deal of thought has to be given to this issue of sighting the moon. And a great deal of thought has to be given to the issue of the calculation. The calculation being haram, you can't depend upon it, or you can depend upon it, or it is an accessory to the actual ru'ya, looking with the eye. Everyone understand this? We've explained this before in that conference with regards to looking for the moon. Can you use the calculation or not? Does Saudi use the calculation? Does Morocco use the calculation? The Middle Eastern or North African countries, are they using the calculation, or is it just pure what? With the eye. And what is the ruling on us denying what the people call or say is a scientific fact? That the new moon phase has not come. It's impossible. Can we say that that's mistaken? And then say we're going to look for it and we did see it? Can we say that? And if we can say that, what is the ruling on saying that, but depending on what the scientists, explorers, astronomers, and the other people of that field say about the Qibla direction? Days of the week, hours out of the day, and everything else, GPS, prayer time. Everyone understand this? So my humble opinion is that a great deal of critical, scholastic thought has to be re-given to this issue, the issue of the calculation. I'm not saying that you can use it. I'm just saying a great deal of what? Critical, scholastic thought has to be given to the issue of the calculation, especially in the United States, in which it's not a Muslim country, in which you have to take a day off, in which you have to rent a center, in which you have to prepare everything, the weather, and the list goes on. There are many different variables of it being a day or not a day. And the people, they say, well, we don't rely on this, we don't rely on that, but everybody relies on social media. One brother sends out a tweet or a text or WhatsApp, then another one sends it out, oh, Ramadan is over, Khalas. Abdullah sent it to me. Mukhtar, he forwarded his Facebook thingy. How valid is that? And then another person sends another tweet, no, it's a mistake. And it happened a few years ago. They said they saw the moon, they didn't see the moon. So just be mindful, guys. And let's never ever forget the fact that whether we like it or not, we rely upon these satellites. We rely upon this type of exploration. We rely upon this science for our daily 9 to 5s. Everything is based off of calculation, time, direction, from A to Z. Is this not the case or not? So you have to be careful. That's all I'm going to say about that. And Allah surely knows best. Wa sallallahu sallam barak ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabina wa imamina Muhammad.